Here's the thing about Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. If you're someone like me who considers Mad Max Fury Road a masterpiece and one of the best action movies of all time, there's something very important you must understand about Furiosa. Whether you've already seen this movie or haven't seen this movie, there is one major aspect you must comprehend, and that is this. Furiosa is not Fury Road. And I don't mean in terms of quality, I just mean in terms of pacing, plot, and scope. Yes, it is a prequel to Fury Road and takes place in the same universe, obviously, but Furiosa really is its own thing. The sooner you realize this, the better Furiosa's experience will be. If you're going in expecting Fury Road Part 2, then you might come away disappointed, but the sooner you can accept the movie for what it is and meet the film on its own terms, the more fun you'll have. At least that's how I see it. So, with all that being said, how is Furiosa? At one point in the movie, Dementis, played by Chris Hemsworth, looks up at Furiosa and says this: "Do you have it in you to make it an epic?" Did George Miller have it in him to make an epic? Let's get into it. So right out the gate, I would say that Furiosa is a much more conventional film than Fury Road. It is a sprawling movie that spans 15 years or so, and the film is broken up into 5 chapters. This movie is the journey of Furiosa from the time she is kidnapped from the Green Place as a young girl, all the way up to the events that lead to Fury Road. And boy, is it a roller coaster of a journey. This is a movie that takes its time while also having a lot of fun. It continues to flesh out this world and the characters that inhabit this cruel wasteland. People and locations that were just mentioned in Fury Road are now front and center in Furiosa. Places like Gastown or the Bullet Farm. We get a good explanation of how this world operates and Furiosa's role within it. And it's not just the world building that's wonderfully done, it's also the characters that fill the space. Furiosa encounters many people in the story, and a couple of them actually shape who she becomes. And this movie is also about something. It's about finding love and hope in this awful, cruel wasteland. Sure, some of these themes can be found in Fury Road, but I'd argue they're more prominent here in Furiosa. One of the things that can be annoying about prequels is when a prequel is hell-bent on telling how a character obtained, certain aspects of their life. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Movies that are like, oh, this is how the superhero got his jacket, or, oh, that's how the character got their name. Most of the time when prequels dish this information out, it comes off as lazy and eye-rolling. But to my surprise, those aspects in Furiosa are handled wonderfully. Take Furiosa's arm as an example. We know from Fury Road that she has lost an arm and has a mechanical replacement, so of course we're waiting to see how she lost her arm. They could have easily just had her lose it in an uninteresting way, but instead, Miller actually gives some weight and emotion behind it. It's not just, oh, that's how she lost her arm. There's meaning behind it. And the scene where she loses her arm is powerful and devastating. The amount of care that went into exploring Furiosa was extremely effective. So I'm sure everyone wants to know, and for good reason, how is the action? The action is sparse, but when it kicks into high gear, it goes pretty hard. There are a few standout moments of the film, but the one that has stuck with me is a chase involving a tanker and some paragliding psychos. The action isn't as visceral as Fury Road, but they're still thrilling to behold. But what I found to be fascinating about this movie is that the action isn't just about vehicle combat. Sure, those set pieces are there, but there are many other thrilling action set pieces that don't involve cars at all. For instance, there's an extended chase sequence that happens in the first 15 to 20 minutes, and I thought it was totally riveting. It was not at all how I thought the movie would start, but it completely grabbed my attention and is a fun, interesting ride to kick off the film. Then we have the characters that Furiosa encounters in her journey. First off, we have Dementis, the man who takes Furiosa in and treats her like a father figure. Dementis is, without a doubt, one of the most, if not the most compelling character in the movie. This is a man who has suffered a great deal of loss and has channeled that grief and pain into something destructive. He is a man who conquers and inflicts pain everywhere he goes, but he's not one-dimensional. There's a sadness in him. And Chris Hemsworth, my God, man. What a performance. Hemsworth is clearly having fun here, and it shows. He's not the best performer of the movie, in my opinion, but he's definitely the flashiest and most entertaining. The other character that helps shape the life of Furiosa is someone that's barely mentioned in the trailers, so I'll just keep it brief and vague here. But she encounters another man in her journey that helps her on her quest of vengeance, and their bond was entirely unexpected, and I loved it. But now we need to talk about the star of the movie, Anya Taylor Joy. She is without a doubt the best in this movie. She is incredible. I read somewhere that she only has like 30 lines of dialogue in this movie, and she owns every line. This is a very internal performance, and Taylor Joy fucking kills it. She doesn't speak much, but when she does, there's power behind it. I cannot stress how incredible she is in this movie. This movie is worth it alone just to watch her performance. So now we've come to it. We need to discuss the elephant in the room. When I said earlier that this is not Fury Road, one of the aspects that I found to be the biggest difference is CGI. CGI. And listen, guys, there is a massive amount of CGI in this movie. It is riddled throughout each action scene and is also used in many exterior shots. And to me, I had to quickly change my mindset and accept Furiosa is not going to be Fury Road when it comes to realistic action set pieces. And if I'm being brutally honest here, this movie a lot of the time felt very artificial and cartoonish. I managed to adapt to this new aesthetic pretty quickly, but if you're coming into Furiosa expecting the realism of Fury Road, you'll probably be disappointed. Again, the action scenes are fun, do not get me wrong, but I found the excessive amount of CGI to be pretty distracting. But once I just accepted that this was the route they were taking, I settled in and just took it all in. To some, it might kill the movie, but again, if you welcome the fact that this isn't Fury Road and it's doing its own thing, the easier the CGI is to swallow. At least it was for me. All that being said, is this a better movie than Fury Road? In my opinion, no. However, this is still better than 99% of other Hollywood blockbusters and is one hell of an odyssey. In fact, I'm actually kind of thrilled that Furiosa is so different from Fury Road. As much as I love Fury Road, I wasn't really interested in getting another balls to the walls Mad Max thrill ride. I was happy that this was slower in pace, bigger in scope, and character focused. Make no mistake, this is a movie you experience. This is an Odyssey movie, an Odyssey that will stick with you long after the credits roll. So, did Miller have it in him to make an epic? For me, it's a resounding yes. While not Fury Road, it is indeed yet another cinematic masterpiece from the great mind of George Miller.